6:30, so I know we're still getting some people trickling in, but we don't want to waste any time and our valuable time with Shawn tonight. So good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're fortunate to have a special guest with us, Shawn Hochuli, current NFL referee, who's officiating at the highest level, multiple playoff games, and beyond the NFL, his deep roots into the college level, high school level, and knows how to grind and grow. That comes with working up in this profession. He's joining us tonight to share his perspective on effective communication, signaling, and what separates the good officials from the great ones, not just on Fridays or Sundays, but all levels. Let's make the most of this, ask good questions, take notes, and that we can use for this season and in the future. Welcome, Shawn Hochuli.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate being here. And I just on the outset, I'll say appreciate everything you guys do. We are all in this together. I know that sounds like BS, and you hear it from guys like me all the time. But whether you're getting screamed at by a parent at a JV game or screamed at by 100,000 people, it feels the same. And so we want to continue, at least at our level, to get people to come out, because nobody wants to get yelled at for $80 anymore. And so appreciate what you guys do. And truly, we're brethren and we're all in this together. So if there's ever anything I can do for anybody, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay. Let me share my screen here with everybody.
Hey, Tyler.
Yes.
First, I just want to thank everybody for getting on, and thank you for organizing this for everybody across the state. And Shawn, thank you for willing to participate. Gentleman and scholar, we really appreciate it. And for everybody that's on there across the state, football season will be here in a couple weeks, and go out and do what you do. And just remember, these student athletes are depending on us to give them everything that they're working for, and they're out there as we speak right now, sweating their butts off, waiting for us in a couple of weeks. We owe them everything, and we should be preparing as well. So, and Shawn, you're the best, but I'm here in Las Vegas, and I actually found a few other people that said they can actually do it better than you. So here's the first one.
Oh, geez, this is Perlman or somebody.
What up, Shawn? It's Mez.
What's up, Mez? Looking good, man. Looking
After
good.
the review, we got one other guy wants.
Oh boy, this is probably Yet. There's Yet.
Baby.
That's why I got a text from you a minute ago.
Then we found another one.
Hey, Shawn, when you
What's
tell them
up?
how to do a false start, don't go into too much depth, all right? It's just
What's
a false
up,
start.
VR? What's up? You got everybody here, Larry. Hey, Brad.
Good to see you.
Hey,
Brad Rogers and crew are obviously in Raiders camp now.
you know what? They were just hanging out in the corner doing nothing. So I bought them Slurpees, and they said, "Hey, we're going to get on and listen to the shit Shawn talks
That's
about."
awesome.
So,
That's
right?
awesome. That's awesome. I love it.
All
There
right.
you go,
Well,
Tyler.
thank you, and the floor is
4
yours.
for 1.
Hey, don't ask us to give any signals. We'll just watch. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Larry.
All right.
Hey, thank you, Larry, for everything that you've done and helped set this up. And it's been great. It's an honor. All right, let me get to sharing this screen. Okay, a couple of things that I wanted to just cover real fast before we get started. Some expectations, goals. We want to contribute to a positive, respectful learning environment. Negative comments or making fun of others is not acceptable. Our goal is to improve our skills through supportive and constructive feedback. Let's be open to input and suggestion from our guest instructor and any of our fellow officials that might have something. The most that you're going to get out of this is if you turn your camera on. We're going to get started here with our first section, which is going to be mechanics focus and mirror work. And our first, we're going to perform each signal, try to do it 20 times. We might not get there. And then complete 10 reps with your right hand and 10 reps with your left hand. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing so everybody's got the idea of that. And our first signal is going to be our ready for play signal. So we're going to go from our first chop it in. Now, my question here is, is it just a straight, chop here, or are you going all the way down? What's your kind of your visual on that when you're doing it?
You
Shawn?
asking me, Tyler? Yeah, so I punch it in and stop it short. But in my opinion, and I'll say this a lot tonight, my opinion, we need to use our own style. Our own personality needs to come out. But I just come in and go like that.
Okay. So if everybody wants to turn on their camera, if you got any questions, please ask Shawn. And then, step away from your computer, 10 on the right, and then 10 on the left, and we'll go on to our next signal after that.
Tyler, I've never chopped in with my offhand, but again, to each their own.
So that was one of my questions that I was going to ask. So you go pride or your dominant right?
I
And
do.
so it doesn't matter if you're away from the press box or not. You're not going press box side or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm not. And then I know later on you talk about first down signals. Ed used to give signals with both arms, and I was never ambidextrous enough to do it. So I'm always going right. But again, in my opinion, it's whatever your personality is and whatever you're comfortable with, or of course, whatever your supervisor wants. If you feel like you want to be press box side, then do it. Or if somebody wants you to do that, then you got to learn it. But I do not do that.
Okay. Do you have a place on the field that you like to be standing when you're given this signal? Is it just kind of where you ever feel, or do you
I'd
try
like
to
to
get
be
to
in
a certain spot?
Yeah, I'd like to be in position when I'm going to chop it in. I'd like to be, at my, I'm 15 yards deep and tight end width. But you ask a little later on about timing wise. And one thing I always try to remember about chopping things in too early is nobody likes to delay a game. So if we're coming out of a penalty or a timeout or something like that, I want to get them going. I'm going to give the funny whistle. And if they're still milling around, I'm going to go ahead and chop it in, but I'm going to pump it up. So you asked about timing earlier. Nobody wants to delay a game, so I never want to have chopped it in too soon. And if I realize I have, then I'm going to pump it up.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions from the crowd before we move on? Okay, start the clock. We're winding the clock after we've chopped, and then we're winding. Do you have a certain amount? Is it 2? Is it 3? How many winds are we doing?
These are things honestly that just comes natural. I go 2, and I think of, like, with all signals, I like baseball umpires, and I've got some baseball umpire friends that I'm close with, and I like how they pop their signals on the out calls and stuff like that. So in all aspects, whether it's holding and I'm chopping in it, and I'm doing the signal, I pop it and then point. And again, it's to each person's personality, but to the wind, I go twice, and then I kind of end it with kind of a pop, if you will. But some supervisors want 3 timeout signals, 1, 2, 3, and 3 winds, and I personally am not that rigid. So there's that.
Okay. So you're just, and like you said, you're always right hand. Doesn't matter if you're away from the press box or not. You're not winding press
I'm
box
not.
side to help with the clock to see you or anything like that.
I'm not. And there's referees like Tony Careni and Walt Anderson that would call me sacrilegious for saying that. Walt would do both hands, and Tony would, signaling point first down, he would point toward a pylon because it looks better on the camera or something like that. But I'm not that. I don't want to use the word anal because those guys are amazing. But no, I do not do left hand, probably because I would look like an idiot doing it.
Okay. All right. You just talked a little bit about stop the clock, and that was the next one. Or stop the clock. Are you super fast? Do you have a rhythm that you're going when you're stopping the clock? Or is it all depending on the play?
Perfect. Yeah, it depends on the play. If it's obvious the clock is going to be stopped for whatever reason, the guy's out of bounds, I'll give 2, or something like that. Or if we're in a situation where we're going to be digging or something, and I need to get in there quick, then I'm going to go faster. I think the point though is just to make them crisp, obviously, and to make sure that the clock has stopped. Is everyone on here a referee, Tyler, or are we?
No, we're
Okay.
a mixture of everything.
That's great. So regardless, if you're the one stopping the clock, or more importantly, if you're not the one stopping the clock, we've all got to look and make sure that the clock stopped, because usually the person that's stopping the clock, the calling official, has something else going on. They're in their head about something. They're watching dead ball action, whatever it is. So it's incumbent upon all of us, the off officials, to make sure that clock actually stopped.
Okay. Very good. Any questions from the crowd?
And I also think, Larry, the funny whistle is the most important part of the clock, stopping the clock. If I have a foul, I'm going to give the funny whistle as well as stopping the clock. I mean, that just alerts everybody that we've got something.
So Shawn, are you funny whistling right after you're stopping the clock, or are you funny whistling as you're stopping the clock? You throw your flag, you're funny whistling as you're stopping the clock to let everybody know something's weird, to also let players know.
Yeah, that I'm right away when I know the play's dead, I'm putting the whistle in the mouth, tweet, 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 and then I start doing stop the clock. So probably funny whistles first, or in conjunction with. But I think that's a underused mechanic, is the funny whistle. We have gotten to be relying on our O2O system where we're talking. I don't know if you guys have that, but we use it. I would say I'm a huge proponent of it, but we use it in place sometimes of things like a funny whistle. We need to give the funny whistle, or in place of stopping the clock. Clock operator isn't in our ear. He's got to know the clock's going to stop.
Okay.
I got a quick question, if you don't mind.
Yep.
So I know at your level it's a lot different because your clock operators are a lot better, but I've always been told to turn and face the clock operator when you get your signals, like you're going to stop the clock or if you're going to wind, turn and face the clock operator. Is that something you recommend or don't recommend?
Yeah, Dwayne, I would agree in all instances where I'm going to posture, meaning it's a situation by which I want to kind of let the crowd know or let the clock operator know that something's happening. Then, yes. But there's so many times during the game where you just can't. It's not, you're watching the action by stopping the clock or by chopping it into play. I'm not going to face the clock operator and miss some action that's going on. So yeah, I would just say to each their own on that. I do want to find, if you're mic'd and you got a camera, I do want to find where the camera is before every game so that I know where I'm going to face. I want to look toward the camera when I'm going to make my announcement. And I'll just say it because I'm thinking about it. So often, one of the things, this is a personal pet peeve, is people go too far to find a spot to posture and make their announcement. The cameras are going to find you, the fans and the coaches are going to find you wherever you are. It doesn't take ever more than 1 or 2, 3 max steps to clear from players and then start giving my announcements. If you ever watch me work or anybody work, you'll see the camera zooms in, and where you think that you're in a crowd of people and nobody can see you, the camera's right on you. Sorry, that's a digression, Tyler.
Oh, I like it because we do have TV games that are played within our state, especially down in the South. I think the North up in Reno also does TV games. So it's that's good advice. Love it. All right. Our next one is the first down signal. You talked about that a little bit.
Shawn, let me ask you a quick question, please. Here in Las Vegas, nice to meet you, by the way. Our clock operator usually has an O2O in his ear, so only he can hear it when you're writing down penalties. Does yours at NFL level, does your clock operator be able to hear you, what you're talking about on the field?
They are not, Bill. Sometimes I wish
Okay.
they could, but there's a lot of reasons that they can't. Yeah. So, and we've had things where we get burned. Yeah. But no, we don't.
I can understand why. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet, Bill.
Okay. The first down signals. Do you got like a whole hand? Are you one finger, two fingers?
Yeah, and it's funny you say it because I'm 2 fingers, and some people I know it annoys. Like, I'll see other referees at time. We all know personal pride, and I'll say, "Oh, I don't like that. I like doing it my way." I think very common is the open hand with the thumb tucked, or one. We got some people that do one finger. I do too. And again, it's just personal preference. I don't think that anybody should ever be criticized for how they give a first down signal, unless it's a matter of laziness. Like, I want to pop everything. I mean, one of your questions on here is, hey, do we over exaggerate things, at certain times? And I say, absolutely. I think that, I hate to say it this way, but we're on stage at all times. And I think of myself as in part, it's a show, right? And I want to emphasize that, hey, I've got a first down. So if it's close, I'm coming out, I'll look at the ball if it's something that I'm having to look at with the chains, and I'll come out and I'll absolutely pop it. But to your earlier, one of your questions on the list, Larry, is there are times, of course, where it's obviously a first down, and I'm just gonna point slower, but I'm still gonna try and give it a little pop. In personal pride, I just like that crispness of how things, just kind of baseball umpire type of signals.
Now, when you're giving your first down, are you kind of at a 45-degree upwards, or are you more of a straight on the?
No, yeah, I'm 45, but I'm sure there are people that are straight, and I don't have a problem with that if I'm watching or grading the game, but I'm personally 45. I don't know why. This is probably just what I was taught.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Walt Anderson, if you know, Walt Anderson would stand and he would look, holding offense, whatever. He would look downfield where he's pointing, and that was kind of his thing. He'd look downfield. I don't do that. This is announcing penalties now. But my point is that just everybody has their own style, and I encourage people really to just show your personality.
Awesome.
Hey, Tyler, Dave
Yep.
Class had a hand up. I don't know if you had a question.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not able to. If you see that, Doug, and you're able to monitor that, then awesome. Dave.
David Class, you got a
Yes.
hand up?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you have a question?
Oh, no.
Okay, I just saw a hand up on your Zoom thing.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate that. Okay, incomplete pass or a declined penalty, no score. Are you coming all the way across? Or are you just here? How's that looking for you? Are you doing multiple on, like, if it's an incomplete pass, is that kind of a 2 is good? Are you just kind of 1 and slow? What do you
Yeah,
got?
I'm an old back judge, and so I would, there's that art to if it's obvious and everybody knows it's incomplete, I'm coming here and I'm just doing that one signal, right? If I've really gotta stress it, then I'm doing more. And again, I'm just really popping it, just like Matthew's doing down there, or even snapping the ground if I need to. But it used to be, and again, it's one of those, you watch the old SCC games and they go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's like, oh God. So situational, if everybody knows, then there's really not much point. I don't want to be lazy. We see some guys who they just go here, it's like, all right, but I want to be a showman when I need to.
Okay. All right, getting into to the fun one, the false start. I know that you did a little German in your false start last year. I had that video queued up, but I don't know where it went. So,
that's great.
how many rotations before you point? Is it 3? Are you quick? Are you slow? I kind of think of a basketball traveling
Yeah.
tight and then going.
Yeah, I think I don't count it in my head, but I think it's just natural. I go 3. Scott Campbell taught me, actually. He says he always wants to do the words with the action. So false start, offense number 86, and so he's really matching it up. I'm not that good, but yeah, I think I probably go 3. And when I read this question, I was in my mind, line judges, down judges, in reporting it. So what we do is they throw the flag, they kill the clock as they're coming in. They'll give it a couple times as they're running in toward me. Then they give the false start. Preliminary signals, is my point, are so important with us. And when we can dispose of a foul quickly, especially an easy one like false start, that allows me more currency to later on explain things more or whatever. So yeah, so that's reporting the foul to me, the false start. But in terms of getting rid of it, as soon as I know what they've got, I'm immediately turning. And again, there's no steps necessary. I'm in my position. I turn. I see the line judge coming in with me with this false start signal. I turn back to the press box, false start, offense number 86. So should be an easy one.
Do you add any verbiage to it before, like prior to the snap, false start, or dead ball, false start? Or do you just go right into it, false start?
Yeah, as much as people that know me know that I want to talk as much as I can and add extra stuff into the announcement, there's time for that. And there's a time when it's not necessary. So rarely do I do a false start unless it's a situation where, you know, everybody go like there's a flinch and then the action happens and somebody's killing it and we're halfway through the play, you know, something like that, where it's like before the snap. If I feel like there's reason to tell people that there might be confusion, then I need to clarify before the snap, you know, false start. But that's pretty rare, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Hey,
Bill,
Tyler,
yes.
it's Gerald. Can I ask a question now?
Yep.
So when you're working with your crew and communications on the O2O and all that stuff, what's your expectations and what do you tell the crews you work with, or probably you work with the same crew? I don't know how the NFL works, but what is that communication and what, you know, what do you have your crews do with you?
Yeah, Tyler, is that something? That's a great question, Gerald. I give speeches sometimes, and I will talk the entire time about communication, because communication is undoubtedly the most important aspect to officiating. I don't care about anything else. Tyler, do you want me to get in that now or later?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay,
We're
no,
getting
just
close to the end of this anyway, so go for it.
okay. No, I would just say briefly, Gerald, I stress to people, you know, there's 5 things that I talk about oftentimes that are the most important tenets of officiating. And one of them is to step off the ledge. And stepping off the ledge to me means if you think that there's maybe, probably, might be, apps, kind of, maybe that we did something wrong, it's your responsibility to shut it down and bring the question in. And I, Shawn, don't care if you're wrong 99 out of 100, because it's that one time that you're going to save the crew. Your supervisor might care when you're wrong, but it's that one time. So I say that because communication is key. I call them olden days, forgive me, the days where the referee would MF you and say, get out of here, you're screwing up my game, that kind of thing. Those days are gone. All of us at all levels are under way too much critique, scrutiny, etc., to be missing things that are, you know, obvious errors. So communication, that's the bedrock principle of my crew, is communicating with each other. And I'll talk as we go about certain examples of communication, but as it relates to this, I mean, we're going to get into foul reporting. And I'll stop here and we'll kind of see where the conversation goes. But communication on the O2O is paramount. I probably didn't answer your question, Gerald, but I will.
No, you did. I just, you know, what you emphasize with your crews. So,
and there's some crews, I will say, that don't want chatter on the O2O, and I respect that and understand that too. But to me, man, there's just no substitute. We've been saved so many times for somebody speaking up where on another crew they might have been scared to do so. So I encourage that.
thank you.
Real quick,
Thank you.
This, by the way, I'm talking to you from Phoenix, so I'm not in Reno, but here we do things different. But quick question. This may be a silly question, but I have a tendency when I give my signal to, like, if I'm saying offense and I point, I'm going to look in the same direction. And I'm trying to break that habit where, you know, and I'll look in the same direction I'm pointing. I notice that you always are looking straight ahead. Any tips on how to, because, you know, you naturally want to look where you're pointing. So
yeah. And like I said, that's great, Dwayne. And Walt Anderson used to do that on purpose, and he actually liked his referees doing that. And I never got into that because I wanted to think I'm having a conversation with you, the man or the lady on the couch who isn't versed in the mystery of football officiating. I want to explain it to you and dumb it down to you and just have a conversation. So I would say the only thing that comes to mind immediately, Dwayne, is, you know, and you've probably heard this before, but really focusing on a spot in the crowd, finding a kid in the crowd or a lady in the crowd or whatever, and talking to them and focusing on them, or the camera or a green paint spot or whatever. It's the first thing I would think of to try and break that habit, but I get it. But again, and I'll say it one more time, it's like personality is key. If you like doing that and you're comfortable doing that, unless your supervisor says he doesn't like it, shoot, go for it. I don't think it's a bad habit.
Okay, any other questions? All righty. Quick question. I have a legal shift, a legal motion on here. When you're doing a legal motion, or if you're doing a legal shift, are you doing your shift with which way you're going to point, or do you go opposite?
Yeah, that's great, because Ed would do left for left and right for right, and I say his name again because I hold him in pretty high regard. I don't do that. I can't do that. I go right, you know, legal shift offense, you know, so I go opposite. And again, I hate to be saying, hey, there's no strict rules, but to me, there's no strict rules. Whatever you feel comfortable with and is going to help with your confidence, great. I just think it's when I would watch his signals with the left, I felt it looked unnatural because he's not left-handed. And guys that I know are not left-handed, I see him do it. It just feels unnatural to me.
Very good. Okay, intentional grounding. Our next one up. We got intentional grounding and then loss of down on that one. Do you stay at the spot when you call your intentional groundings? Or do you beanbag and then go? I mean, I know you have the O2Os, but sometimes it might be loud. You might not be able to have that communication. I think sometimes we rely too much on our O2Os and, we don't communicate with our nonverbal cues like we should with our crew because we have the O2Os now. And if those go out, we're kind of dead in the water if we're not used to communicating person to person.
Yeah, and that's huge for me too, Tyler, is I'm a huge talk about leadership. In my opinion, I want to get to the guys and have a conversation and look someone in the eyes. So if it's intentional grounding, hopefully I have a flag at the spot. If I don't, or I need to drop a beanbag to hold the spot, I will. But I'm going to them and hoping that they're coming to me. I also want to save time. There are some of our referees even who will stand at their spot and wait for the people to come to them. And I understand to a degree that they're letting the field judge and the back judge figure out what they have and then bring it to me when you're ready. I want to get in the conversation. I want to look a person in their eye because we all know on a crew there's certain personalities. There's some people who are more strong-minded, some who are more meek. And I want to be able to judge the fact that the rookie, back judge threw a flag and not let the field judge steamroll him by pulling it off. So the short answer to the question is, yeah, if I've got ING, I'm going to go to somebody, any foul. If I see a flag down anywhere, as I'm killing the clock, I'm starting to beeline it to them. I just think it's more efficient. I'm never going to walk. If you guys ever catch me walking on the television, please send me a note. I just think it looks lazy.
Okay. Awesome. What tips do you have for us in determining whether or not the QB is out or in of the free blocking zone to be ruled intentional grounding versus not?
Yeah, and that's a great one because we've got the pocket. Now, what we do, our mechanic is I line up on the outside of the tight end, which is our tight end box for low blocking. So my initial position is at that spot and I don't move. And I think I've really learned over the years not to move. I mean, we can talk about that, but there's not a whole lot of reasons ever where the quarterback's going to drop back, meaning laterally. Unless the quarterback's, going to the sideline, I could drop back, but stay on that vertical mark demarcation for low blocking. So that's for me. And that could be the pocket if that's, or the low blocking zone or whatever. And I'm not suggesting anybody line up in any particular area, but it just so happens that we do, and that's my demarcation. And then just pre-snap, pre-snap routine. I mean, we've got the 5-yard chuck zone for illegal contact. We've got 1 yard, for ID for illegal downfield and for OPI. And so, just being aware before the snap. So after the snap, there's people. Clay Martin's really good at when the quarterback throws the ball on an ING, he potential ING, he runs to the spot and stands where the quarterback was. And that's great because then after the play, everything's calmed down. You've got on your finger, on your hand where the ball was snapped, the hash, and then you can figure it out from there. So I guess my point is you could potentially go to the spot, just know where your landmarks are pre-snap, and then potentially line up there to begin the snap. If it's feasible. Yes, sir.
Hey, Shawn, Joe Molinaro here. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Joe. Good, man.
Okay. Do you use the philosophy as we do in high school? When in doubt, they're out of the zone?
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody wants fouls at any level, and if we have the opportunity to let them off, at most almost a blanket statement. I would agree with that, Joe. When in doubt, they're out. Of course, we have replay. Of course, we have replay, so philosophy sometimes gets in the way of that. But I think that's a great philosophy. I think we insert ourselves too much sometimes, and I'm victim of that as well, or whatever the word is. I do that as well. So yeah. We cannot insert ourselves. I don't want to. Just like the delay of game, instance. And I don't mean to go off on the tangent, but it's like if I chop in after a penalty, and they may be lollygagging, but nobody in the world wants to see a delay of game out of a timeout or a penalty. So am I really going to stick it down their throat? No, I'm going to pump it up and maybe I'm going to tell them to be quicker next time. But it's not about me as much as you think it might be.
Shawn, how do you handle the offside, not the offside, the other side of the line? If you say vertical with the tackle tight end on, say, the right-handed quarterback, who do you go for help on the other side of the line?
That's a great question, Bill. And I apologize because we have an umpire back there with me, so it's his job. And now I'm realizing your umpire, I bet, is in the defensive side, so you've got the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. Even a 7-man, we don't have, the referee doesn't have any help on that. That's why I asked.
Interesting. Interesting. So I would do the Clay Martin routine then. I think if the quarterback's rolling away from me and he throws the ball, I'm going to have to run to the spot. And it's really an optical illusion, as we know. Wherever you think that he threw it, he actually probably threw it 2 yards prior to that, right?
So
Or vice versa.
do you get, does your, say your line judge or whoever's over or down judge, I guess is now the proper term in the NFL. Do you ask him for help does he help you on the radio, say, no, he's outside, so you can wave it off if it's questionable, obviously you don't want to call it, which Joe just asked about.
Yeah, he's got no vision of that because he's not even looking there. I would love it. I would ask him for help, if he has any to give. But generally speaking, he's going to be watching his receiver, and his job isn't to know whether the quarterback's out of the box, out of the pocket or not. So unfortunately, it's me and the umpire and replay. And again, I say this, I'm the spoiled kid. I've got replay and I've got an umpire back there. It's all you. And so, it's just I use the other term. I talked about the 5 tenets of officiating. FITFO is so important to me. We talk about it with my crew and my family. FITFO means figure it the F out, right? And there's so many times in officiating where we need all the bodies to say their opinion. And at the end of the day, we're just going to figure it out. We're going to get to the right answer one way or the other. And, I hate to just leave that, but maybe the back judge had a view of it somehow about the quarterback.
Well, I'm usually a back judge, so it's funny you say that.
That's
but
excellent.
in that regard, if you're not sure, you got nothing, right?
Well said. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I'll let you go. Thank you.
Great point, Bill. Thanks.
All righty. Any other questions? All righty. Moving on to our next one is the illegal block in the back signal. How are you presenting this? I mean, I've seen a couple of different ways where their hands, I mean, I know you talk about preference, but
Yep.
my thing is we've listening to Chris Coit a couple years ago at the NNFOA clinic. He talked about what he does is whatever's going to be looking best on camera, and he's watched himself, a gazillion times, and he's perfected his signaling to make it whatever's going to be best looked on camera. What do you do for your illegal block in the back? Is it over the top, underneath? Do you have a preference?
Yeah, that's great. And I love it. I love it too, Tyler, because this is signal school. So, we want some hard and fast rules. I get it. So I will stop saying it's personal preference and show your personality. But what I do is I don't want to cover my face ever, right? So I don't want a holding to be up here or illegal block in the back to be there. We've got illegal contact too. So it's easy sometimes to forget, just briefly forget which one is a hand and which one isn't. But to answer your question, I'll hold it down low and I'll the same thing. I'll do some sort of popping motion if you can see some, whether it's forward or kind of down. And I have my hands spread. Some guys like to do it like this. I don't like that because I just think it looks unnatural. I mean, if I'm saying hi to you, I'm waving like this, I guess. I don't know what analogy to use, but yeah, I'm just popping it like that.
Okay.
Strong arms, rigid. Nobody's gonna cut my arm down, kind of thing.
All right, and kind of using that same motion, we go into pass interference or kick catch interference. I've learned through the basketball world, you do a push signal and it's like a push up, but if you get it back here first and then extend out, it almost makes it seem like the foul was more believable to the audience rather than something that was here. And it was just like, well, if that's the foul, was that really a foul? Do you start back here, even with your illegal block in the back? It's kind of like a hand check. Do you start here?
Yeah.
And you do your pop?
Man, these are great details. I don't go all the way back, but I start toward the back. I'm gonna start here, pass interference. And I love what you just said, Tyler, is it makes it more believable because that's right in line with if you're strong and confident in your signals and your voice and your enunciation, you're gonna be more believable, right? Bill Vinovich is fantastic because which I can't do very well, he has a free flow, like he's talking on a conversation with you. Holding offense number 77, 10-yard penalty, replay for second down. I love Bill Vinovich. I don't want to do that. I want to be holding. And you may think it's more robotic, but holding. Every word's kind of enunciated. Holding. Offense number 87, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down. I just feel it feels more authoritative to me. But, again, to each their own. Bill Vinovich is the best in the world, and he just does it different. So yeah, to answer the question, I don't start completely back, but I do start back and kind of give it a push forward motion because that's my pop.
Okay, very good. All right, that kind of concludes our section 1, and now we get to go into our section 2. So let me share this to kind of go over what we're going to be doing next. And in section 2, everybody, I'm going to just go ahead. I've got a series of plays here, and I'm just going to call on somebody, and you'll have a play. And what we want you to do is just to stand up, do the signal, and announce like you're announcing it to the crowd. Shawn will give some feedback on verbiage, language that could be used, maybe eliminated, added, those types of things. Focus on rule-based language and a professional delivery. If we have anybody that wants to volunteer, put a little hand up in the chat. We can call on you. But this is where we learn to get these jitters out so that we're in front of the crowd. We're not making those mistakes. So just looking on here. In fact, Joe, do you want to do the first one? Here's the first.
Yes.
Okay, here's the first one. And then can everybody see Joe's screen still? Like we're sharing ours, but I can still see the pictures off to the side. Can everybody still see Joe's?
You just have to find him on the list because it's.
We'll have to move back a little bit.
I see him. I see it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm holding. Number 52, offense. 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
See, I love it. I mean, you're crisp, Joe. You have the style of your own where you go like this. I'm this guy. A lot of people are that. And you're obviously you're in shape. You look good. You're very believable. You're strong and confident in your words.
Thank you, Shawn. Appreciate it.
Can't be critical of that.
All righty. Let's see here. Rich, do you have your camera going? Are you in a position?
Well, am I the Rich you're talking about?
Yeah. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I just moved my chair out of the way. So, all right.
Okay. Here you go.
All right. All right. So, what do we have? We have a targeting on that. What are we looking at here? Yeah. Right. So we have I should have made more room. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay. Oh, the screen went away.
Oh,
all right.
No,
Was that number?
We see you.
Okay, B30. So we have a targeting on the defense. Number 31. It's a 15-yard penalty. It'll be first down.
Yeah, and Rich, you do a nice job. Tyler, I don't know if you want me to comment on everybody, but you do a nice job being loose because I feel like I oversold the whole, robotic thing, because what I try and do always as well is remind myself to loosen up, show my personality, relax, loose, and you have a nice, kind of loose personality. in your signals. We just because it's our rule, we always start with personal foul, unnecessary, and that, I do the popping thing there too. Personal foul, we don't have targeting, but personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number, whatever. And just because we're on topic right now, I try not to. There's sometimes where I find myself becoming emotional about a foul, right? You got roughing the passer, and I'm pissed off because you just hit the quarterback, right? And I've got to take a deep breath and back myself off about making it personal, so to speak, or I should say, showing it in my announcement. I never want to be pissed off on my announcement. Personal foul, roughing the passer. So I try and take a deep breath and remind myself that all I'm doing is reporting the news. Right. So one of the questions in here Tyler had is, when a coach is pissed off at you or a player or whatever, do you let it affect you? And all I'm doing is reporting the news, man. I'm not the one that committed the foul. You did, right? Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, targeting, or whatever it is, defense.
So Shawn, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I had a crewmate a couple of years ago that told me that I do not have a poker face.
That's great.
This was during a signaling for an ejection.
That's great. You come across as a really nice guy and confident as well. So, again, you show your personality. Much different than Joe. Both good, but you're showing your personality, and I immediately like you both. So I'm sold.
All righty. Gerald, you want to do the next one?
Sure, I will try. I'm on my cell phone, so I'll try to prop it up here.
Okay.
Problem is the words. First, 2nd and 5 from A45. A12 hands the ball to running back. A28 breaks free down the right sideline. At the B40, B56 grabs the runner from behind, inside the back collar of the jersey, pulls him down to the ground. The tackle occurs in the field of play, and clock status and play clock. Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay. So I have horse collar. I'm just going to pick a number. Defense, number 25, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah. That's great. And Tyler, I don't mean to be too positive, but I feel like a lot of people here have probably been doing this longer than I have. Right. And you probably chose 3 veterans just now that have been doing this a long time. So I don't want to critique anybody, necessarily, but yeah, Gerald, that was good. I mean, obviously you're going to know the numbers because the guys, they've given it to you and stuff like that. And it's, we're reading on an iPhone here, but do you guys not start with a personal foul signal? Do you go straight to horse collar?
No, it should have been a personal foul first. Horse collar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And what came to my mind when you did it too, is you said, which was great. Again, this isn't good or bad. You said, automatic, on number such and such, automatic first down. And then you point here, that reminded me of what I do is when I'm done with the announcement and it's an automatic first down. Let me just do this. Holding by the defense number 57. It's a 10-yard penalty. Oh no, I say automatic first down. When I'm doing an announcement and I have a first down, usually I just do the finger as opposed to pointing. And again, it goes back to, was it Dwayne's question about, about looking and pointing? I just kind of feel weird. Yeah, point is, if I have a foul that creates a first down, personally, I just do the hand signals.
All right. Thank you.
But whatever, again, whatever.
All righty. Let's go to the next one here. Steve Rohr.
All right, we have 3rd and 8 from the A35. Completes the pass to A83. We have a peel back block towards the play on B36. We're going to go personal foul, blindside block, defense number 68, or offense number 68. 15-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
Yeah, you cut out a little bit just because of the screen, but Rich, your signals seem you seem very, confident and, crisp, I think. And I'm probably repeating myself, but the voices are tough on here too, Tyler, because it's like, it's not natural, it's a great exercise, but but I'd like to see some of that. I would love to follow up and see some of these announcements live when you guys start working games, because I'm curious now, but yeah, Steve, your signals seem really crisp.
What do you do? Sorry, Shawn, to interrupt.
No, that's good.
What do you
That's
what
good.
do you do if you have a number wrong or an error in your announcement? Do you fight through and then correction at the end, or do you try to correct it right then and there? What are
Yeah.
some tips on that?
Don Willard made me jealous when in college he faced the wrong way and said holding offense, and then he realized that he wasn't facing the press box. He flipped around and he said, "I'll tell you guys now too," and I just loved it because by contrast, there was an SEC referee one year who faced the wrong way, realized it, turned around, pissed off, and even the announcers, like at himself, like guys, the announcers were like, "Whoa." So the point was that Don Willard made him human. He made it fun. When Alex Kemp says to Geno Smith, "Hold on, I'm talking to America here," I'm jealous, right? When I can announce in German, I'm jealous of myself. So my point is personality. Let's not take ourselves too serious here. So when I mess up a number, I'll say correction number 86 if I know it immediately. Because my bosses care, if I realize it after the announcement's over, I will still come on and say correction, the foul is on number 86. But yeah, if I say it live, let me just give an example. Holding by the offense number 67, and then I either realize it or somebody in my ear says it, then as soon as I get the opportunity during that announcement, I'll say correction number 70. I've even, I'm not a great example because I'm probably more, talkative than most people, but I've apologized on the mic before. I've said let's go on the mic before. There's not really much that I won't say on the microphone. So yeah, saying a correction, I'm human. Everybody gets it. Just oops, sorry.
You got shot open. You have to call at least one time. Just check until it's bet. Come on.
Two pair though.
Yeah.
It's everyone.
One other question on that. So you mentioned as you were doing the announcement, if someone comes over the radio, we kind of have through our Nevada state manual, and I can't speak for the other states or other people that might be on here. We kind of have a rule of thumb to no talking on the mic on the O2Os when the referee is given their announcement.
And that's great. That's great. I would never conflict that because I understand that we've got a lot of referees that want complete silence because they're going to concentrate. I'm different. There's times, honestly, Tyler, where I'll start giving an announcement without the full information because I know the crew's going to give it to me while I'm talking. Meaning, like, I'll start the announcement right when I'm about to start the announcement. I've forgotten the number, and I'll flip the O2O on real quick and say, "What's the number?" And then I'll flip it off and flip the mic on holding by the offense. I know they're going to come in with the number by the time I get there because I have trust in them because we've practiced this so often. So my point is that personally, it's just Shawn. I have no problem doing two things at once in terms of hearing what you're saying. Now, you shouldn't be talking about other things that aren't the announcement. Forget, that's 100% agree with everything that commission says with regard to that, because that's just going to throw me off. But I'm cool if you correct me on the O2O. I don't get upset with that. Some of our referees will take the O2O out for their announcement. That solves that problem,
Right.
But that goes into my line of like communication. The most important thing is that we communicate.
Shawn, I have two questions. One really small, tripping over the pebbles. Is it preferred? It's the same thing when you're saying repeat second down or replay second down. Is that serious? Is there a general tendency of one or the other? It really doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters. It's a great question, Mike. I say replay, but I guess I've heard it other ways, but again, that's one thing that probably nobody will ever notice but us. And we should be our biggest critics, right? Like I'll play my announcement back and I don't like the way I influxed that word. It's like nobody noticed, but we're our own critics. So yeah, I don't know that it matters.
The other question,
unless the supervisor says that he wants it a certain way, obviously.
the other question is, when we're mic'd, a good portion of the time there is delay in the coming back through the stadium speakers.
Oh, the
Do you
worst.
have that at your level?
We do sometimes. I'll be honest, not as much as when I was working in college, but sometimes. And that's just awful. There's no way around. There's no good way to do that other than learning to concentrate. I try and phase my wife out when she's screaming at me, so that's good practice, I guess.
You get where I was going from on that one, because I've seen that and all of a sudden I've got to focus on not what I'm listening to, but just what I'm saying. Thank
It's
you.
awful. Yes, yes, sir. Thank you.
Great questions. All righty. Going on to our ineligible downfield. Let's see here. Doug Hayes, would you like to do the ineligible downfield? X for no. Let's see here. Matt, you want to do ineligible downfield? Are you coming on this side?
Yeah, I'll come on this side so we don't have that playback stuff. So yeah, 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line with 1:45 remaining in the second quarter. A10 receives the snap and is under immediate duress from the defensive rush. In what was supposed to be a run pass option, A10 scrambles and throws to A88. The line judge throws a flag as A59 was 4 yards downfield with A10 released the ball. A88 was tackled inbounds. Okay, so we got the clock's going to be running. So ineligible man downfield, offense, number 59. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
That's awesome. And Matt, I saw you giving the signals earlier. You did a great job giving the signals when we were in the previous session. I'll say this, and it's not I still have a problem with it. Bill Levy, the late, great, wonderful human being that was Bill Levy, would always call me after games. He would say, Shawn, on your ineligible downfield, don't pat it. Just put your hand on the top. Same with like illegal touching. He would just want me to do this, or the signal for DTM, which is just 2 hands on the head. So he would say, don't pat it. But again, it's to each their own. But now I try hard not to pat it, because he said not to. And then I used to also do, you said 5 yards, and I used to do that too, and I don't do it anymore. So I'm not saying 10 yards or 5 yards. I'm just saying full start offense, 5-yard penalty. But I've seen people do it, but I think that probably the preference would be not to. But yeah, no, that was great.
Thank
And
you.
Hey, sorry, question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tyler, Shawn, Shawn, who's looking for that at your level? If the DJ is on your side of the line, who's looking for that downfield, the H, the L, or the deep wings? Who's looking for that guy that's ineligible?
Yeah, it's a great question, Walter. It's whoever's side it's on, they're responsible for their side of the line. But I was gonna say, and I'm glad you brought that up, Walter, is it's an optical illusion, and I'm sure you guys see it at your level too, is we're wrong just as many times as we're right on IDP. And so the conversation earlier about, I think Mike was talking about, or somebody was talking about, if the quarterback is close, then we put him out. Same thing with IDP. If it's close, we put him in. We don't want to create fouls. But yeah, that's whoever side of the line it is. There is a mechanic. We're going in where the referee and the umpire are responsible for it inside the 10-yard line going in. I've never had IDP. If you are responsible for IDP as a referee for some mechanic, I use my beanbag. I'll run to the, well, no, never mind. That's illegal forward pass by the quarterback. No, IDP is line of scrimmage all day.
So, hey, Shawn, some of these that we just kind of went through, we're just finishing up on section 2. We're going to get into section 3, which is the communication with officials to the referee. But on some of these, they might be controversial or maybe not necessarily ones that are called all the time. You might go a couple of games without calling an ineligible downfield. Do you have any special language that you might use for some of these fouls that might sound confusing to fans?
Yeah, 2 words by rule. By rule is my biggest crutch, my biggest safety net is if I've got something difficult to explain or controversial or whatever, I just say by rule because let me give an example. We've got two fouls on one foul on each team and a change of possession. We've got something called a double foul with a change of possession, and I could explain to the crowd how smart I am because I'm so good with the rules and I know we're gonna enforce it. The crowd doesn't care. The crowd just wants the ball to be put down, whether I'm right or wrong. So oftentimes I'll just say there were fouls by both teams on the play during the kick. And that's an important part as we get into the next topic. During the kick, holding by the receiving team, number 64, prior to the kick, such and such by the kicking team, number such and such. By rule, those fouls, whatever. By rule, the ball will be next snapped at, the 34-yard line or whatever. So by rule gets me out of a lot. And then one of your questions on there in this section, Tyler, was when the coach is yelling at us, the crowd's loud, we've got something controversial. And I go back to earlier when I said that if I can get dispose of the easy fouls, then I build up currency for later when I need extra time. And I consider, believe it or not, I'm a narcissist and it's all about me in those moments, but I kid, but I have a job to do and I'm going to take it one step at a time. So my point is that when it's a difficult situation or a complicated situation, I'm going to avoid worrying about the Jeopardy clock in my head that's telling me to get done and start the announcement now. No, I'm taking this time for me. We're going to get this right. I'm gonna FITFO it. I'm gonna figure it out, and we're gonna move on. When I'm ready, if you will. And the coach, like I said, I'm just reporting the news, so I'm not gonna let his being upset bother me.
John, I have a question on that. We have offsetting fouls on a kicking play, I think is what you said.
Sure.
Okay. So do you automatically assume that R is going to decline the penalty to keep the ball? Because that comes up in high school sometimes. Or do you wait for somebody on the R team saying, no, we want to replay the down? How do you handle that?
Yeah, and of course that's a great question, Bill. And of course our rules are different, but I'll just speak in general terms. If there's an option, usually on a punt, right, that they can either replay the down by bringing the offense back and punt 10 yards back, or they can keep the ball after enforcement if it's foul or whatever the case is. If it's not completely obvious, I'm definitely going to ask because if it's a difference between making them punt again or snapping on the 1 yard line going out, I know what the answer is going to be.
That's obvious, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
obvious ones. Now we have a coach, that used to coach for the Patriots for a long time, where he would pick the wrong choice on purpose, and kind of just to show us that it's check with me, and so you kind of learn the personalities of the guys. But no, generally speaking, to a man, 99% of the coaches say if it's an obvious choice, just make it. But on those punt ones, I'm always going to ask.
Yeah, okay, but yeah, that's a good example. And I probably know who you're talking about. Yeah,
Amen.
They're not going to want to. They're going to take the ball about midfield and press on. But
That's
that
right.
does come up in high school a lot. I'm usually a back judge, but sometimes I white hat. So I'm in tune with all these things, anyways. That's why I asked. Thank you.
Absolutely, good questions.
Any others?
But yeah, quick question, Shawn. I'm sorry I'm asking all the questions, but how often do we get to talk to the NFL ref? So
Amen. Thanks, Dwayne.
I'm going to take advantage of it.
Of course, that's awesome. Thanks, man.
So kind of going back to what the other gentleman just asked. As I was coming up, I've always had white hats tell me, I don't say it to my team, but I've always had white hats tell me, if you don't know the penalty, don't call the play, don't call it. So you see something happen, what would happen? You see something happen and you're afraid to throw your flag because you didn't understand the penalty. What's your philosophy on that?
Yeah, that feels two things real quick, Dwayne. That feels really old school thinking to me. That's akin to don't screw up my game, don't shut it down, don't come in and ask the question. Now, I will say this. If we don't know the fouls, we got to be working harder to learn the rules and watch video and stuff like that. So, rarely I will say is a guy throwing a flag and he doesn't know what he has in our game. But with regard to reporting, and I know we're about to get into this, so maybe it's a good segue. With regard to reporting, when you come up to me, you might not know what you have exactly, but you saw something weird, right? That and you just want a second to replay it in your mind, maybe talk it through. Cool. Like when you report something, and again, I'm not one who says, tell me this and then this and then this. I want you, and I learned this from Carl Cheffers a long time ago. I want you to paint me the picture. Like I get that you might not know what the foul is or the enforcement, but tell me what you saw. Recreate it so that I can then dissect it and ask you the question. So it's applicable to your question, I think, Dwayne, is you don't know what you have or the foul, but you got something. Don't not throw the flag, right? Step off the ledge, as I said earlier, and have the guts to throw it and then come in and just be authentic. That's the biggest thing in officiating. Be real. Own your mistake, if you will, and just say, hey, Shawn, I don't know what I got, but this is the picture that I'm going to paint you. Take it from there. So I don't know if that answers it, but that's, yeah. I try and stay away from that old school type thinking. Not that it's bad. It's just nowadays, again, and I'll say this one more time. It's like, if we might sound weird. If we respect each other, we have love for each other as a crew. The most important thing in my world is crew. And I'm not going to go off on this tangent, but my son's name is Crew. And it's not on accident, because crew to me means family. I don't even know if you guys work crews, but all of Nevada high school officiating is a crew. We're a crew right now in this conversation. If we like each other, we respect each other, we have love for each other, we're going to want to help each other in the moment when it matters. And that's going to result in better officiating, period. So hard stop. Sorry.
Hey, Tyler, Daniel, I'm not going to try to pronounce Venable.
Yes, sir.
You got your hand up?
Yeah, I was thinking about communication, especially with coaches and audience. And Shawn, it's probably been a while, but how would you communicate an inadvertent whistle?
Yeah, that's a great one, Daniel. And that's number one, I'm going to own it. I mean, there's no just going to own it. I'm going to eat it. You're going to get so much more respect from people if you just own up to it. I've seen so many times where people try to hide an erroneous whistle, as we call it. And it's just death. How am I going to explain it? I'm going to start by saying I'm really sorry to the coach. That coach, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm really sorry. And, in my opinion, even at the NFL level, if you show somebody that you're a human, and I'm not, I make mistakes too, man. I'm sorry. And yeah, it's going to cost me my grade and my job and all this kind of stuff. But that's how I would communicate with the coaches, starting by saying, hey, I'm really sorry, but this happened. And there's nothing we could do about it. To the crowd, the announcers, I just got to just play it straight. Erroneous whistle, defense. We're going to do whatever we do, or whatever, however you want to announce it. Good question, Dan. I don't know if that answers it, but just authenticity is so important in all aspects.
It did answer it, and it's just one of those hard ones where, yes, we are both human and we got to deal with it. But, especially when emotions are high or it stops a massive play.
Yeah.
Those are the worst ones, but that tends to be when they happen, especially with some younger officials.
I've had NFL coaches who are making millions of dollars a year and their life depends on this play. And I come over to them and they're upset about something and I know we screwed it up. And I say, Coach, I'm sorry. Like there's nothing I can do. We're going to fix it, or we're going to, whatever. And it stops them in their tracks. And it's amazing as humans how if we treat each other with respect and kindness and we're honest, it stops people in their tracks. And so, yeah, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Thanks, Shawn.
Yes, sir.
All righty. Okay, we're going to move on to our next one. This is the crew to referee reporting scenario. This is our last section of the night. We got a few plays to go through here, and then we can have a kind of a Q&A at the end and depart. It's 7:33 now, so we're going to try to whip through these so we can give a little bit. We might skip some of these, Shawn. I'd like to make sure everybody gets a final chance to ask you any final questions and make sure that, we're respecting your time. We said 8 o'clock, so we'll try to wrap this up right there at 8, if that works.
Absolutely, Tyler, as much as you want.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'll call on one official, and you're gonna be like whatever the position is, and then the other person will be the referee in this case. So report how you would report to the referee, and then the referee can do their announcements just like how we did. So our first one, I'll just do Corey Dominic as the referee and Chris Bibbins as the line judge in this play. Are you guys with us? George Brackett, do you want to step in as the line judge, and Corey can be the?
Yep. Oh, I'm here, Tyler. I was driving.
Oh, okay. I got you. Do you want to do the? I can call on somebody else, Corey. I don't want to get you in a wreck.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Whatever you want.
George Brackett, do you want to be the referee on this one?
Yes, sir. Will do.
Okay, is Chris Bibbins, are you available? James Walker, do you want to do that one?
Line or ref?
You can be the line judge, and then we'll have George be the referee.
Okay. Okay, so what I've got is I've got an illegal touch by 88 offense.
Okay. Boy, let's see. Sorry about that. I have an illegal touch, 88 offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Yeah, and that's interesting because that's one of those, Tyler, where maybe a little more explanation by both officials is warranted, just because it's confusing to the crowd why. Because all they're going to know is that a guy downfield who appears to be an eligible receiver caught a pass. And so I'm sure in the moment James would describe more of what he has. Okay, I got a legal touch. Well, hold on. What do you mean? I'd be like, what do you mean illegal touch? Who did what? And he say, well, 88 went downfield and touched it, and he was covered up. So I would, in my announcement, add in that, number 88 by, whatever. Number 88 was, what would I say? Illegal touching by the offense, number 82. He was covered, making him an ineligible receiver who illegally touched a pass or something. I mean, that's off the cuff, but something a little more descriptive, because nobody's going to know again.
Okay, and I know you touched briefly on it earlier. So you don't really care how it's being reported to you, just kind of paint you the picture and then you put it together in your head.
Yeah, and Brad Allen taught me when I was his back judge when. Usually on most fouls, the when is the most important part of it. Is it during the kick? Is it during the return? Is it during the run? Is it during the pass play? So I want to know the when, but I'm going to have to probably draw that out of you. And again, there's referees who want it scripted. You tell me which team, which number, whatever. I know that the official that just threw the flag is in their own head, and they're thinking about things. And maybe they're a younger official who's nervous, and they're jarred by this. And I can't fault them for that. My job as a referee is to help calm them down, help give them patience, and talk through it and ask them leading questions. So yeah, absolutely. I want them to paint the picture to me and in any manner that they know how, right? And so as the crew goes over the season, we're going to develop a consistency and a symmetry as to how we're reporting fouls. But I just want you to give me all the information, and then I'm going to keep asking. I'm cool that you don't know the announcement. That's my job to do. And there's 9 people in the 020 where when I repeat back the announcement before I mic it up, that their job, again, in terms of stepping off the ledge, is say, hold on, Shawn, I think you might have that. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question.
Nope.
Yeah. Hey, Tyler, real quick, I just want to throw somebody on here. This guy came to visit me today, and he's just leaving right now. So it's Ed. And
I was trying to, I wanted to correct him on a lot of things that he said, but he kept shutting me up.
He wanted to give the presentation.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't remember a thing about football officiating. But
oh, this is football.
Yeah, this is
I thought we were talking NBA here.
Do you have a 30-second?
What?
Yeah. What makes a great official? What makes a great football official?
Put him full screen, will you please, Tyler?
Yeah, hold on. Let me stop sharing and
Thank you.
I'll tell him we only got a few more minutes, so he won't talk much, but I'm going to put him on the spot.
Won't talk much. Come on, man. I can spend 3 minutes on a false start announcement.
Is that everybody but the center?
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. That's right.
There you go.
What makes a great referee?
Why not? Or a football official? I don't know.
Effort. If you want to be good, you'll be good. That, of course, that applies to anything in life. If you want to be good, you can be good at it. And to be a great football official, obviously, you have to have a really good grasp of the rules. I think that's really important, to spend the time studying the rules. and to ask questions of better officials and other officials, even officials that you think you're better than. Ask them, why do they do something? What's better way to do it? And you continually learn. I'll never forget when Jerry Seaman, when I got in the league, Jerry Seaman and Jerry Markwright were both referees in the NFL. And they both thought they were better than the other one. And Jerry Seaman got the job as the head, as the vice president of officiating. And I remember Jerry Markwright told me when I first started refereeing, I called Jerry Markwright and I said, Mr. Markwright, you don't know me, but someday they're going to use my name in the same sentence when they say Jerry Markwright. And the only way I can get there is if you'll help me. And he says, what do you want me to do? Anything I can do, kid. What can we do? And I said, I want to come to Skokie and I would like to spend the day meeting with you. He said, come on out anytime. So I picked his brain. And he told me the story that when Jerry Seaman took over, Markwright thought, I'm such a better referee than he is. Why do I want to listen to anything that he says? But he said, I listened to what he said. And I thought, that's not going to work for me, but I'm going to try it. And he said, it was amazing how many things Jerry Seaman told me that I end up stealing and taking as my own techniques because they were really good when I tried them. So you never can think that you know it all. You never can think that you're better. Your way of doing something is better than something else. Give it a try. And if you like it, great. If you don't, then you look for something else. But you got to be your own guy. And I love what you just said about how reporting fouls. I don't care if a guy tells me it's red or it's whatever the team is. I don't care. Offense, it doesn't matter. You tell me the way you're comfortable telling it, then I'm going to spew it back to you until we know that we're on the same page. So, and that's being a great referee, is being a great crew chief. You come last. Everybody else in the crew comes ahead of you, and you want to make them better officials. You want the crew to be better crew, and you don't worry about yourself. No. Okay. That was my 10-minute false start call. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys. Good luck to you. Have fun. Now you listen to what this guy said, because it's a hell of a better than I ever was.
Hey, Ed, before you go,
Yes, sir.
can you give us one more of those first downs showing those pipes?
The pipes are now down around my belly. What are you talking about?
I told him you used to do first downs left-handed.
I did. Yeah, because I wanted to face the press box. Because
see, there you go.
My first downs were I threw it like that, and so I wanted to face the press box. And one day I did one, and it was the right-handed thing. And Brett Favre, he says, Ed, and he does it. He does the first down thing with his right arm. Right after I did mine, he says, I'm going to take your job over when I finally retire from this. I said, you'll never retire. And he laughed. And then later on, I had one where I used my left hand. And I said, hey, Brett, you're going to have to learn to do your left-handed too. And that stumped him. He said, oh, shit, I'm in trouble. Okay, end of story. Adios, guys.
Thank you.
So that's a good point, though. Some people do it left because they want to face the press box. I don't think there's anything wrong. Sorry for the interruption, Tyler.
Oh, that was awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that.
Right on. Absolutely.
Can I ask a question again?
Of course.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you're great.
I can talk to you all night. Sometimes our area of that we're watching crosses over. So you'll see something that maybe the line judge will see at the same time, even, not purposely, but it happens. Have you ever do you talk an official out of a call? So you saw something different than they saw, they'll make the call. Or you let them ride their own call?
No, definitely, Dwayne. That's part of being a crew, right? Is my success is yours and your failure is mine as well. So if I saw it clearly, I'm going to bring it in. There's some crews that say, hey, if you don't think it's a foul, tell me to pick it up. Don't say, I don't think it's a foul, and some people want, hey, just tell me to pick it up or not. And there's a lot of uncertainty in all of that. I want your opinion regardless. If you think it's probably not a foul, but I've told you, don't talk to me unless you're telling me to pick it up, then you're going to choke on something and bring it to the locker room that might have helped me, because we're all insecure about our officiating. I don't care who you are. To some degree, we're all insecure about our officiating. You throw the flag, every one of us has some sense of doubt sometimes. And so you coming in saying, Shawn, I don't know. There's so often where I threw the flag and I know it's shitty and it's like, God, I wish somebody would just say something because I'm not sure. And as soon as the line just says, Shawn, I think maybe, then I'm like, yep, picking it up, So yeah, so they're definitely, that's part of being a crew to me.
Very good. I know we're getting close to our
Yeah.
time, and I know that some of our final questions that we had on the back page, I think, kind of correlates into this, and not necessarily needing to go through this whole list of plays for right now. And it's pretty hard on the Zoom. I'm finding out on these. It's probably one of those in person might be a better scenario for this section 3 as well. But just a couple of questions that I had was when you get multiple fouls on a play, how do you quickly process all the options and yet stay efficient in the communication when you're addressing them to your crew and to the coaches and then ultimately back to the crowd?
Yeah, I talk with people a lot about becoming the go-to guy. I said that earlier. What's the go-to guy? It's the person that instinctively the referee looks to when he's got a question. Everybody's equal in the boardroom and we love each other and stuff. But when the chips are down and Jeopardy clock's going, I'm looking to somebody instinctively. And so how do you become the go-to guy? It's kind of like what Ed said, the effort, how much rule study can you tolerate? Can you do more than the next guy? How much video review can you tolerate? It's painful. The casebook sucks and it's dry. All of that to say that the better we get with the rules, the more confident we become when we're disposing of fouls. And so I feel like you can give me, I relish the situations where there's a bunch of fouls on the play and there's going to be a difficult enforcement because I'm going to do it better than the 16 other referees are going to do it. And I'm going to show off, and this is my show. But I think of the movie The Martian, where Matt Damon at the end of the movie, great movie, somebody asks him, he got stranded on Mars. And somebody asks him, how'd you survive? And he says, I just solved one problem at a time. And if I solve enough problems, I get to go home. And that's how I think of that question, Tyler, is like multiple fouls, a lot going on. How do I get there? I go slow, I take it one problem at a time, and then ultimately I'm going to get to the answer. So I don't know if that helps.
No, it does. We got a couple of questions out in the field. James, did you want to ask yours first and then Devassar?
Sure, thank you. So Shawn, obviously, an offensive team's tempo can really play havoc, especially in certain uh, areas of the game, whether it be they're just an up-tempo team, placing the ball, communicating. And I guess my question is, with communicating being so incredibly important, the processing seems like it's even more important. What tips can you give us for if you have more of an up-tempo offensive team regarding communication, ball placement after a play, etc.?
Yeah, that's a good one, James. A lot of thoughts come to mind, but I think just being aware, situational awareness, being aware of your responsibilities in a more, acute manner, meaning subs. Subs are going to be an issue when we're going quick. We know that. People getting set completely is going to be an issue. The defense obviously getting onto their side of the ball is going to be an issue. But I also want to, and I'm kind of shotgunning this, but I also want to make sure that everybody knows that we're going to be quicker because they want to go quicker, but we're not going to let them dictate our pace. We're going to get everything right in terms of ball spotting and our positioning and stuff like that, first and foremost. But it's tough too if you don't have O2O, because I'm using the O2O all the time, and we're going to be in Houston tomorrow with the team. And one of the things we're going to talk about is what we would like the receivers to do in a hurry up situation in terms of getting the ball in. And do you give it to the center? Does the center get over the ball? We have to bless it. The umpire has to touch the ball. So my point in saying that is there's times where I'm sitting back there and I'm like, what's the movie? Steve Buscemi is sitting on a nuclear rocket on Mars or something, on an asteroid. Yes, Apocalypse Now, whatever. And he says, do a good job, do a good job, do a good job, do a good job. Because Bruce Willis is drilling. If you know the movie, you know the movie. Anyways, I'm sitting back there watching my umpire rush to get the ball and then spot it in a hurry up situation. I'm saying, do a good job, do a good job. But my point is that with O2O, we can talk through, hey, did you clear this? Did you clear that?
Armageddon.
Armageddon. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Armageddon. It's not a great answer, James, but that's what I got.
Tyler, this is Mark. I got a question.
Hold on real fast, Mark.
Okay.
Devassar, if you wanted to go first, and I'm sure I'm butchering that, and I apologize. You're still on mute. We can't hear you.
Oh, it's because of the headset.
Not on mute, he's just not connected.
Well, while he's working that out really fast, in the chat, there's a Google Doc. Please sign into that. That's going to let us know who showed up for the meeting. So if you please, we'll do that, and then we'll forward it out to the associations that got on this call.
Mark, if you wanted to go, and then we'll come back to Vassar.
Yeah.
Hey, Doug, how do I do that?
You click on the link. Click on the link, and it will pop up.
Well, I'm on full screen right now. I don't have any control. I
Go down to your chat at the very bottom.
Okay. Go ahead.
And you can see the link in the chat. That'll open up your chat box.
Yeah, I see the any NOA football meeting. Okay. What do I click on?
Go scroll all the way down to the bottom. And then it's 2 up from the very bottom text message or chat.
All I have is meeting chat if I want to send somebody a message.
All right,
Hey,
I'll
Bill,
send it
hey,
directly to you.
Yeah, Bill, we know you're here, so don't worry about it. We'll take
All
care of
right. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Doug.
That might
Tyler.
help. Just snap a picture of that with your cell phone, the QR code. That might help you too. Mark, what did you have for a question?
Well, Shawn, hi, it's Shawn, 83, love it, big
Hey, Mark.
fan.
Thanks, man.
You talked about the 5 steps of communication, or your 5 points of communication. Can you just go over the other 4?
Yeah, I'll be brief. It's actually like my 5 things that make a good official, really. Number 1 is becoming the go-to guy, and that's what we talked about, being great at rules knowledge. I was a big track runner in high school and college, and I said, if I can tolerate more pain than the next guy, I'm going to be better than the next guy. And in track, if you know the sport, which I love the sport, it's the next guy is you from a week ago. So I'm competing against me from a week ago because track's such an individual sport. So if I can tolerate more pain by watching video and reading the rules and all the mechanics book and all the stuff we do, I'm going to be better than the next guy. So become the go-to guy. Number 2 is step off the ledge. And that's just having the guts to make the call, throw the flag, shut it down and bring it in. Whatever the case may be, step off the ledge, be one of those people. And the situation I think of is the back judge when the receiving team muffs the punt and the kicking team picks it up and starts running. Well, we know he can't advance, I think, at any level. And it takes a lot of guts when thousands of people are cheering. The guy's scoring a touchdown. His girlfriend thinks he scored a touchdown. This is the kicking team player who recovered the muff. And you're a back judge, and you're the only one in the stadium that knows he's not allowed to advance. And stepping off the ledge when you know the rules rock solid and you can shut it down. The third one is FITFO, and that's just figure it the F out. And again, I talk with my kids about that. There's times when, they don't know how to get the milk from the fridge or whatever. Let's take it one step at a time. How you can figure it out? Bring the chair over, get the cup out of the thing, whatever. Just figure it out. And that's life, man. We just got to figure it out. The fourth was dealing with sudden change. I played defense in college, and it's a long time consuming drive, and it's 15 plays, and you end up with a goal line stand at the 1 yard line, and you stopped them, and you're tired, and it was a 7-minute drive, and you're running off the field, and you're gassed. And then the next play, your quarterback throws an interception, and your coach says you're back out there. How do you deal with sudden change? That's life. There's so many things more serious than football. We have to deal with sudden change. And in officiating, that's my point, is you make a bad call and you made a bad call. How do you move on to the next play? And again, I reference that because he's my hero. He taught me early on, like, if you let that mistake hang in your head, you're going to make another one the next play. We all know how things spiral out of control. So dealing with sudden change. And then the fifth thing is just crew. And Ed said it too. There's nothing more important than the crew. If I ever lie to you, hide something from you, I've lost you. It's all about respect and love. And it's selfish for me because that creates a better environment on the field and better officiating. So nothing's more important than the crew. So I appreciate the question, Mark, because that allowed me to get in those 5 tenets, which I feel so important. And I give hour talks on just those 5, but there you go in 2 minutes. So thank you for allowing me to squeeze that in.
Thank you, Shawn. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Devassar, did you get that fixed?
Yeah, I was having some technical difficulties. Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool, cool. Shawn, great honor to be on this Zoom. You're probably one of my favorite NFL
Wow.
referees to just to watch. To the layman football fan and the fanatic fan and the officials, just how you narrate the penalties and your calm demeanor and your fearless nature of just taking on, like, multiple fouls. But
Thank you.
my question was, how do you prepare for a game on Sunday during the week? How do you prepare, the crew? Like, how many Zooms do you do? How many Microsoft Teams, do you do, like, per week to just kind of, get your crew ready? If you, could briefly answer that.
Yeah, yeah, I'll try and answer that under a minute. And yeah, that Vassar, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that's very gracious. I appreciate you saying so. We got a lot of good referees, but that's very kind. Thank you. But yeah, no, I say that part of being a referee is you're part psychologist, part, husband, part spouse, part babysitter, part teacher, part mentor. You're all these things as a referee. And I realize that not everybody here is referees, but that's my duty to make sure that I know that everybody's in their own head during the week. They're worrying about their own calls and their own grades. And part of my job is to help them understand that the bigger worry is how the crew is doing. So a lot of my time is spent just in interpersonal communication. The football part of it, yeah, I mean, I could go through a long process about what we do every day. I won't, but Monday is watching. Sunday on the way home, I'm watching the game for the first time. I'm watching it for the second time on Monday. We have to respond to the league. We get our grades on Tuesday. I start on Wednesday preparing for the next game's meeting. I'm a big proponent of, if you like what you're doing at your work, regardless of the job, you're going to be better at it. So I try and make our Saturday meetings when we get to the stadium or to the hotel fun. I do games, I do quiz shows. We learn, about the rules. I quiz people on each other's families, to create the bond, the environment. So I say that because Wednesday through Friday is prep work for the upcoming game, scouting the teams, reviewing the league's, videos, studying rules, doing a test, etc. But so much of that prep work is designed around my Saturday meeting that's going to be 3 hours with the crew that I think is more important than the game itself, because it's developing the interpersonal relationships and it's learning without people realizing they're learning. So that's a really quick version. I could go a lot more into it. I'm happy to do that another time or email conversation. But yeah, it's a lot more, as you know, Vassar. There's a lot more that goes into it than people realize.
Hey, Shawn, if you could, you've worked with a lot of new officials on your crews over the years. How do you help them get comfortable reporting the fouls to you, or how do you get them comfortable to be, you talked about that crew continuity right there and whatnot. Any tips for veterans, as we get new officials coming on board to kind of help them feel
Patience.
a part of that group? And
Yep,
that
patience, self-awareness, realizing that official is nervous in his own head. The only thing I could do by bullying that guy is hurt the situation. So, you could see in someone's eyes when they're reporting a foul that either they're not sure about what they have or they're scared shitless. You're a rookie in the NFL, you're on Monday Night Football. How can I can hurt the situation by saying, "Hurry up, give me the information. What do you got?" Or I can, a little more new age. I'm not a millennial, but I'm not Gen X either or whatever. I'm kind of in the middle. It's like, all right, let's be a little nurturing and positive reinforcement out here. What do you got? Let's talk through it. So that's all I would say is just patience.
Very good. And then one of my last ones here that was asked to me to talk or have you talk about was every game matters to someone, but it's easy to lose focus in like the blowouts that we have at the high school level and the running clocks, and so while working, those types of games or even back to back a JV and a varsity where we're working 2 games in a row, what helps you stay sharp and engaged in those games or in those moments in lower level or lower energy games?
Yeah, and I'll kind of put 2 of your questions into one there, Tyler, and because I know we're getting toward the end, is a coach keeping control of the moment. I thought you were going that way where you said every game matters to someone, and somebody led off the call. I think it was Larry Hansen said that how important this game is to those kids, right? And I always try and remember that Friday nights, man, when I was playing, it was the world, right? Your blood, sweat, tears during the week, and I show up, and we owe those kids the doing a good job, as Larry said, which means being the go-to guy and stepping off the ledge and becoming a good football official and taking pride in what we do because it's important to them. At my level, jobs are on the line, of course, right? And, you know, millions of dollars are at stake. And so one of the questions you had in there was, how do you deal with somebody who's out of control? And my point is, I don't have pride. I'm going to let them vent. I know it's emotional. I'm going to let it get out of the way, let them get it out. And then unlike baseball, you know, and I don't say unlike baseball, but it feels like they're more confrontational. I can turn around and walk away when I'm done with it. But to directly answer your question about lower level games, there's something that maybe this is a good way to end it. It's my first Division I football game. I was at Boise State, and my dad calls me, and I have the voicemail to this day on a Nokia flip phone or something like that, one of those old Nokia phones. It wasn't even a flip phone. And he said, "Shawn," and I quote because I've quoted all the time. I say, "Shawn, I got the tickets. Thank you." And I'll tell you the same thing I tell my crew before every game: focus, concentrate on every play like it's the only play in the game. And when I heard that said, and this is 20 years ago or something like that, 25 years ago, I took that and I said it was a little humorous where I took out the part where it said this play, focus on this play of every game. And I said, what if we did all the prep work during the week, you know, all the stuff, and you show up to the game site and we have a 3-hour meeting, and then we go on the field, 50-minute walk around, and we do all the practice, and we go out, we kick off, and it's 1st and 10, and they run 1st and 10, and then the game is over. Right? How much would you concentrate on that one play if it was the only play in the game? And I took that to an exaggerated level. I said, I would think that I would concentrate an incredible amount. So what I try and do is focus on that play like it's the only play in the game, and then duplicate it 160 times. And there'll be times on the O2O constantly, my crew would roll their eyes right now if they heard this conversation, where I will say, I'll get on the O2O, it'll be 2nd and 10 in the middle of the second quarter. I'll say, this play, guys. And that by now, and I'll say it 50, you know, not 50, but 20 times a game, there'll be plays where I say that. And that tells them lock in, focus. So to answer the question, if I'm at a lower level game, I'm taking those 2 answers into consideration. Number 1, this means something to somebody. This is the most important part of their week. And number 2, I've got to focus on every play of this game like it's the only play in the game, because that time's going to pass the same quickness, whether I'm focused or I'm not. So why not put all I can in and make sure that I'm focusing on every play? So the crew motto, 1 year was FitFo, 1 year it was DIFTs, which is another thing of mine, do it for the story. And 1 year it was this play. So focus on every play like it's the only play of the game. Sorry, that was long.
Oh, loved it. Great nuggets. That's great stuff. It is past our time that we talked about. Shawn, I really appreciate everything and coming on and taking an hour and a half out of your day to talk to us high school officials. It's an honor. I see Larry unmuted. Larry, any last minute words from you?
Well, first, I'd just like to thank Shawn. Thank you for taking time out of your family and joining us, Shawn. It really means the world to us, and you're a wealth of knowledge. Well, you're just an awesome person, and we like you. And, you know, we're rooting for you. And obviously, everybody knows what happened at the NFL headquarters this week. And I just ask everybody just to say a prayer for them and their families and all those people that were very unfortunate in that unfortunate situation. Hug your families today. Without them, it's going to make your job as an official tough. They are first and foremost, and don't forget that. Every day we walk out of that door and every day we hit that field, we just never know. So just remember that. And lastly, if we can just keep our integrity, we can keep our passion, and we can keep our professionalism, we're going to be right, and we're going to do the right thing. So if you can just remember those 3 things, you're going to make a great official that we'd love to have. So again, thank you, and thank you all. I think I looked and we had over 100. So thank you all. Thank the football board. Thank every organization around the whole state, California, and everything. Thank you for joining. We really, really appreciate it. And Shawn, tell your dad thank you as well, and good luck. Have a great season.
I will. And thank you, Larry. And before you close, Tyler, I just want to reiterate that if there's anything you've learned from me in the last hour and a half, hopefully it's sincerity and genuine. If anybody has anything, call me anytime, email me. I'll help if I can, because truly we are in this together. And I get it. My paycheck's bigger than yours, but we're brethren in this. And like Larry just said, if something happens to one of the football family, regardless, we all feel it. So thank you for having me on. It's an honor.
Can you put your email out there, or is that not allowed?
Sure. No, absolutely. Yeah, you bet. I'll put it on the chat.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys all. Have a good night. Tyler, thank you for getting this all together.
Hey, thank you, Larry. Again, much appreciated, and all that you're doing for the state of Nevada. It's been a fun ride with you.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Anything you guys need from me and any one of our leaders around, just you know where we're at. You know how to find us.
And Shawn, good luck on your season this year. Appreciate it once again, and hopefully we can meet up one day in person.
Absolutely. Good luck, guys. And Tyler, great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shawn.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Good job, Shawnee.
Right on, Larry. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Tyler, great work.
No, you're awesome.
No,
Thank you,
my-
Shawn.
my
Shawn, I
pleasure.
really kudos, Shawn, on the, sorry, dude, sorry about that. Anyway, kudos on your presentation on that NFL Films thing, that the hour-long history of the officiating. I thought you were fantastic in personalizing that thing. I
Thank
just
you, Mike.
absolutely loved it.
Right
I
on.
loved Larry's cameo.
Yeah, that's right. You did have a cameo.
Hey, Mike, where is that? Is that on YouTube or
All right.
something?
All right,
All right,
guys.
we're gonna go ahead and end the call. Go ahead and end the call, Tyler.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Thank you, Shawn.
evolution of NFL